Top of the morning to you, folks. I think I'm on. Morning. Hey, welcome. I stuck my head in my paper drawer over there to figure out what I was going to paint on today. And I looked up at the clock and went, oh my gosh, it's 9:57. Welcome to the crazy world that I live in. And welcome to my studio. I'll give this just a little bit of time here to catch up. And I'll be right with you. All right, let's clean the desk off just a little bit here anyway. It's February 24th, and great to have you on the show this morning. I see some of you are filing in here. Your clock was like mine. Hello. What time is it? All right. Where was I when the lights went out in Georgia? It's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. I found this painting this morning as I came to the desk. Never paint under pressure. Yeah, no, I ain't right. I like plumbing. I always thought I'd maybe make a bad plumber, and I did. Hey, welcome to the show this morning. Let me just say hello to a few of you here real quickly. You're jumping on. It's it actually chilly here in the Sandhills, huh? Gene says, Lori Stanley, Handelmauer Henderson, thanks for being on the show. Right off the bat, first thing, Donna Sell Barton, good morning to you. Jason Nicholas, I love having you on. Beverly Schmidt from Greenville. Alice Durham, good morning to you. Donna Buckley, it's Payne's Gray Day. Might as well be. It's going to come out of every pen. The first 4 pens that I hold up, Payne's Gray will kind of come out of them. It just happens. No kidding. Linda Schleitning. Yes, I love it. Good morning from, you guessed it, beautiful Ohio. I read that wrong, but you know what I mean. Gene Anthalzer, Jimerson Anthalzer, June Jones. Welcome. All right. Saturday morning creative infusion. I appreciate that. I need one today, actually. So, Randall Taylor Craven, thanks for being on. Jennifer Yentz. Good morning, James O. Wade Jr. Okay, time to pipe up with your questions. I get it. Denise Albright, thank you for being on the show. Laura Logan, Chris Whitaker, Marlena Davis, Deborah Sprangler. Oh, I was going to post a little video, and I don't know if I can airdrop it to my computer. So I'm going to take just a second and play this song again and see if I can airdrop this little video to myself. Let's see here. I know... Here we go. I think I can take that one and airdrop it right to me. Let's see if it files in here. Oh, I heard that. You know, isn't it amazing the technology we live in today? It just blows my mind. All right. Ooh, since that one worked so fast, I'm going to drop another one in. It just reminded me of something I want to show you. Let's see. I don't know what this one is, but I'll airdrop it anyway. You can get in big trouble sometimes, can't you? Huh? Airdrop and send it to me. Doing my homework here. It says my computer's waiting. Come on. Airdrop. Oh, I hear you now. Thank you very much. All right, so we're about to get a couple pieces airdropped in here. I want to show you just a little surprise that I got the other day, and so those are kind of fun to drop. I don't know where it went. So. Rats. All right, so it's okay. No, I didn't do it. Airdrop. Okay. Does it cancel that? All right, here we go. Let's stop my everything now and just get back to where I was. So Donna Buckley, thanks for being on the show. Oh, what a morning. Jennifer Kaylee. Mary Kay Spencer Ritzau. Rista, I believe it is. I always say that differently. Karen Binder, Bender, Cinder, thank you for being on the show today. All right. Here we go. I think my microphone's working well today. I actually have working now with a newer computer, or a new computer. I've sort of rerouted all the changes over. I've been, on the road for a while, as you guys know, but last Saturday morning had some audio issues. Hooking up in here for the first time. So let me just do this officially now and see if it's going to do my camera changes, and I'll just say it. Boom, there it is. Top of the morning to you. You can see I have a camera up here. There it is right there. And that's covering my desk. It's a nice little Canon that hangs high up here. Then there's one across the way. And so coming to you live this morning from my studio. I used to call it Studio 53B. I don't know why, because there's not any 50s before that, but it's now the it's a studio, just not a studio, but a studio. And then downstairs is the art bar. And that's where I paint sometimes, just if I'm expecting friends over, or we have something that Carol and I are dealing with, or I'm waiting on some soup pot to boil, I paint from the art bar. But most of the time I'm in this studio, which the back wall behind me doubles as an editing suite. I just swing this little cover over, and then behind that is a stand-up desk where I used to edit all my videos. Yesterday, I had 2 right here sitting at this desk and just pile everything up until it gets piled so high that I have to get a ladder to reach the top of my desk surface. So I don't know if your life is like that. Mine is. Welcome to Roo Doodles Live. I'm Michael Hahn. Grandkids call me Roo, short for rooster. I paint watercolor roosters. But today, I'm going to paint with Flair. Just Flair pens. And they're dwindling down. They are literally dwindling down, and these are the old ones, and this is all I have left of some of the old ones. I'll show you right here. Hang on, that one's not. I'm gonna throw it out. The rest of these are. Let me go back to the desk shot. There it is, right there. Look at this. Look inside this can. Can you see that right there? Those are all the old. Here's 2 more laid on the desk. One more over here. These are all the old vintage Flair pens right there. There they are. And you can tell they're the Flair pens because the barrel on them has this little ridges on it. The new ones are smooth and they're a little fatter. They beefed it up, not to hold more ink, just to fool you in that new and improved. No. And they also changed the felt tip. It's a little harder than these were. The architects of my day, and I was an architect, but I worked with a lot of them. They love these pens. They love the blue one to make notes on. They love the black ones to circle. They loved them all. And so Flair pens nowadays have gotten as expensive as fountain pens. I'm going like, what's the matter with you people? But this was an old white tea, orange tea container, and I drop pens in different cans and stuff. And so I may have just about another dozen in there somewhere laying in the other bottom part of an art box. But those are all I have left. And so I just chucked one in the trash can, went down to the bunny trail just a moment ago before we started. So top of the morning to you. It's showtime. Here's where I've got a piece of, I'm gonna change this piece of paper even before I start. This is a piece of, you know what it is. It's Kilimanjaro. It is the original bright white 140-pound cold pressed 100% cotton. It is my go-to paper all the time, but today, just for fun, I'm gonna start off with doing some flares. And yesterday morning I painted 2 blue roosters, and it was so fun that I thought I'd do one and just let you see what I see on camera. I'll let you see on camera what I see live if you haven't done this. And I know a lot of you use ink, different inks. You use different ink colors in pens. And that sometimes can get a little confusing because I've got I had two of these pens, and one time one held black ink, one held green ink, one held sepia, and I'm going like, Then I wonder how to mark them. So I'm just using ink right out of the little bottle, and so like India ink or black ink, or some of those inks work well. A Bombay by P.H. Martin works really well. Sometimes if I can find one, here's one right here. And I'll show you that, but I'll show you this blue ink. I'll show you the red one, but I can't get the top off until I go to my garage and get the pliers. All right, so glad you're on today. Thanks for being a part of my world. Maggie Carnahan, thank you for being on here. Deborah Spangler, I don't think I said hello to you. Mary Kay, I did say hi to Mary Kay. Linda Bob from Morning from Ice is gone already, Minnesota. Yeah, man. Okay. Cindy Simons Wiltermood, good artist you are. Good to have you on the show. Thank you for being here this morning. All right. Here we go. The bunny trail, land of the misfit. All right. So let me show you this on drawing paper. And I promise I'll lay it over here. I talk about drawing paper a lot. And some of you people say, well, why is a watercolor artist talking about drawing paper? Look, it's all art to me. Okay, when you think like an artist, everything is fair game. I mean, I'm talking tablecloths at restaurants. I'm talking I painted a shrimp this week on the back of a menu page for a lady. She said, oh, I'll take that. I said, no, you won't. She said, well, I said, I'm going to paint on it. And so I painted her a little shrimp, and she said to me what some people say to you when you hand them a piece of art. I'm going to frame this. I didn't say, hey, this is a beautiful piece of art by an artist that I know. I didn't say all of that. I just said, hey, what are you going to do with this? And she said, I'm going to frame it. I didn't even ask her what she was going to do with it. I just handed it to her and said, here's your gift today. And by the way, this is not in lieu of a tip. I'm just giving you this because I love sketching here when Carol and I are wrapping up our dinner somewhere, and so she's talking and I'm talking and we're listening, and maybe she's finishing some illustrious grapefruit drink, and I am sipping on the final parts of my tea, and we're wondering if we're going to have a piece of raspberry cheesecake, and I sketch. And so then when I sketch on my drawing pad and in my this new stuff that I've been sketching on, which I told you about, the bees were on that yesterday, the Soho. And by the way, here's what it looks like one more time. I'm going to show you because some of you have ordered it. And Jason, I know, got some crafty Soho, which is cool, except like I said to him, it could be like painting on a piece of cheese, but it's different color paper. I started switching from this to this. One is because honestly it looks bigger, but it's not. There's a 4x6. This one just has a little rip-off border on it, and it is very white. This is 80-pound paper. This is 135 pound. Well, so I'm dyslexic today. 135, yes, 135-pound paper, and this has really got a great feel to it. I like it very much, and I also like the way they perforated it. So if you bend it just one time and back like that, it just rips off so nicely and leaves you a great little crisp piece of paper. So why do I keep this? I keep this in my vest pocket. I keep it in my jacket pocket. I keep it in church. I keep it all over the place just so I can quickly doodle and come up with something. I'm never bored when I'm sitting in a coffee shop and everybody else is sitting there going like, okay, where's my appointment? I'm going like, man, if they don't show up, I'm going to get 5 more of these bees done or something. And so I'm going to start with a flare this morning. So here it goes. Love that about you, Rue. You have opened up that art isn't always on art paper. Oh my heavens, art is everything. This week I'm doing a major, this week and next week, a major art project that has to do with PVC and wood and canvas and people's thoughts and signatures. And I'm building something that I'll have to show you paintings of later. And in fact, I haven't even pitched it to the people who want the idea yet. So art is food, art is music, art is your life if you want to think like an artist. And that's why I always say, what do I always say? I always say this: think like an artist. In my workshops, the times that I have pulled some little classes together, I always had you guys write this every day. And I do this still about once a month. I'll take one of these little drawing pads and I'll doodle on it or in my journal, and I'll go, am I just wired funny? Yes. Is my brain wired funny? Yes. Am I wired differently? I hope so. And I embrace that by the way that my mind catches thoughts and I think of things and they come together. And so the morning is one of those times where when I make a cup of tea, I go down to I'll come up to the office and I'll work a little bit, or I'll rearrange my desk if I didn't clean it up before I go to bed. I like to come into a place where I can lay something on it and start working right away. But I'll go down, I'll make a cup of tea. After that, sometimes I'll just start down there at the old parquet table. You see, a lot of my paintings are on an oak table. This is oak, but it's covered. That one is, I paint on smaller paper down there, and I never take inks down there, and I don't take my big brushes down there. It's usually what's just in my pocket. It's my little Altoid box full of paint, and it's a fountain pen. Now, the last few weeks, I have, last couple, 3 weeks since I was in Florida, about all I have sketched with are these two pens right here. Until 2 days ago when I started with a Flair pen again. And every now and then one's just laying there and I'll just grab it and I'll carry it around like it's an old friend. And then I painted with it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on 2 different pieces of paper today as you think like an artist. So here we go. All right. I'm going to move this over, come down with a clean, this is the Soho paper. There it is right there. It's SO, it says Urban Artist. This is a heavy cover. And it's 135 pounds, 4x6. By the way, they make this, I think, in a 6x8, a little bigger piece of paper. Chris Whitaker, you would love this paper. I think it's going to feel just like a really fun hot press to you. Very slick, but it has a little absorption to it, and it'll dry ink a little faster probably than watercolor paper. But you got to go for it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you this on a piece of white paper first because it's here. I'm just going to do a little doofy Roodoodle's head, a rooster head, and sort of goes like this. And here's the Flair pen. First of all, I just find a scrap piece, which I had right here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Here, this is one of the fly pieces of paper, that comes between the watercolor paper on Kilimanjaro, and so I'm just going to show you what this paper looks like. By the way, this is great paper to sketch on. So, oh yeah, this one's going to work well. Look at that. So this is a Flair pen, and honestly, this pen didn't change from 1996. Oh shoot, no, 1976, probably 66. I think it was invented in the 60s. It didn't really change until about 2007. They just kept it the same. And then along about 2007, they punted it. The same time they punted this pen. This one right here was punted in 2007. And this is the one that prompted a call. They were made by Papermate back then, and they still are, except they're owned by another company, and they changed some things about them. So I pulled a piece of paper like that to show you. First of all, just to see if it's still loose, keep the lids on tight. So I keep these up here, and that's what I do. But here's the concept of when I sit and I doodle on the phone. This is what gets me into trouble and messes up my whole desk right here. All right, so I'll just grab a little bit of... I'll just do the beak, and I'm going to do it to my left because you know that I'm right-handed, and so it goes that way. If you're left-handed, it's hard to pull back to you. It's easy to push out, see? And so, but I can do that. I'll do it both ways here, but I'm going to take this one to the right first, and I'm going to go right in here, and I'm just going to do his beak like that. There it is. There's his little beak. Let's see if we can come in on that just a little bit. Let me focus it. All right, there we go. And then for that, I'm going to come down with this wattle. There it is right there. And then the other one's hanging over here. Got a little bit like this. Just a little eye there. Maybe a little, I'm an angry eye. See, I just did a little check mark over it like this. Then I'm going to pull in here and we'll come back and we'll come up here, grab that. This is not a happy rooster. And then look at this. I'm going to come in here, and then now I'm going to come in. I've been pushing hard. You see, I pushed hard here. Right here, I'm just going to barely light come down in here with a few feathers. come in here. I might come in here with a little bit of this hackle feather coming down. Now, all this really needs to make it work in my world of doodling is a little brush, and maybe could use a bamboo brush, could use a dagger brush. I'm going to use a heavier brush this morning. I'm going to use, not heavy, but this is number 6. Nylon is synthetic brush. I'm going to come in right here and I'm just going to start dropping some water in and look at the colors go. You're going to see the purple come out. You're going to see the blue. You're going to see the Payne's gray run in. And you're thinking, wait, this is a black flyer. Where's all that purple ink coming from? Welcome to the world of pens that you don't understand until you really dig into them. And that's the part that I really love about these things. And so what happens is I'll stack a little more water in there like this. And then I really have this rooster almost done, finished, except that, watch this. I'm going to take the lid off of this blue ink. And this is Liquitex ink. You could also just use P.H. Martin ink, which I really love, by the way. If you're going to use India ink, I use a Sumi ink or from Yasutoma. It's here. Black Sumi ink, or I'll use even a Higgins ink with a little dropper. I was working on a project and I found these the other day. I think I mentioned it in my post. This is Liquitex. It's a little thicker, but it is ink. It's got more things in it than you probably want to know. And so it's great for making a bigger mess. In fact, I'm going to put this under it just to keep my other blotter clean. There we go. So, and this is a phthalo blue, it says, but I'm actually going to put it on kind of heavy. And I literally am not going to drop it in. I'm just going to touch it right here and watch what happens in here. Can you see that? I didn't squeeze the dropper. I just let the dropper nose touch the paper. And then I can pick this little piece of drawing paper up and I can move the ink around like this. And where this dark already was, it's going to turn into more of an ultramarine blue. And in here, it's just going to fade out into this beautiful blue. I can dilute it even more so with water by just picking it up and painting with it like this. Or I can bring this down like this. And I don't even have to use the brush. I can use the handle of this brush and bring in some very fine work. Look at this here, just dragging it through the ink. And this is all the stuff that you forget unless you play. And the best thing to do about learning art is just to play, people. Just find your some. You know, what did I start off the show with this morning? A little piece of piping that says, never paint under pressure. What's the point? What is the point? Okay? If you do, something goofy is going to happen. And so I think that, let me clean this brush off now because I'm going to have it all over my fingers. All right, if I just came in here like this and I put some of this ink right here, and then just touch that one more time. Watch this. All right here at the end of this pipe, watch this. I'm going to touch it just like that. Boom. Oh my gosh, look at that. I just touched it in one spot, and that's probably enough ink to paint the whole painting blue, but it'll also, watch this. And there you get a little splash coming out of the pipe and then a little washing down the pipe like this. And so it gives my whole painting a little different feel if I do something crazy like that to it. Okay? All right, just with a little ink. So why did I introduce ink? I introduced ink because of its viscosity. Watercolor can be heavy, it can be thick. It's certainly not acrylic. I don't try to paint like acrylic. I don't try to paint like oil. I paint like a watercolor artist who uses water and then adds color. And that's the whole thing that makes this work really well. My friend Chip is doing some fun new landscapes, and he is suddenly in his life going like, wow, water really works. And I go, watercolor. And so it's not all me, but he stays at it. He loves it. His heart has shifted to say, this is it. It's some days it's more fun than roasting coffee. And so his coffee business is going by the boards, and he's saying, this is this and keeping up with the Inklings. No pun intended there. Maybe that's why he's so much into this, but he's been dealing with some ink. So I want to show you a couple how these work. note, this is still just a flare pen. And see, there's a little tinge of that blue in there. I'm not trying to make everything that way, but if I wanted to bring in a little piece of another color, I could do that very easily by just going in here and touching a little yellow right there. Or if I want to add a little green right here, watch this. I'm just going to drop a little drop right there and just let that run in and watch what happens. So this is all with ink. If you haven't tried it, and some of you have and some of you love it, I will tell you this, make sure your area is clean because it's going to get away from you and you're going to mess something up. So make sure you have on your dark shirt. Uh-oh. Okay. You understand what I'm doing here, right? You know my story on shirts. I don't spend a lot of money on white dress shirts. They're sort of my uniform shirt every day. But what happens is I buy them at Goodwill. Man, there's some great stuff out there. All right, a little bit of yellow. And if I were to touch a little red in here, now I'm going to try this one more time to see if I can break the lid loose on this red ink. Here we go, right here, without breaking the bottle. That'd be a mess, wouldn't it? My hand got so sore yesterday that I couldn't get it off, and then I forgot to go down and get my pliers. This bottle has probably not been opened and I tapped it. I've done everything. All right, I'll use a little red touch here of this. This is liquid watercolor, so I'm just going to put 2 little spots up there. Well, there's almost 4, but, and then I'm just going to, that's way too much. I'm going to take some of that out, just erase it with this paper towel. And I'm going to drop some water in there. Okay, I thought it was still wet enough, but it wasn't. It needed water, needed more water. I'll splash it in, and then I'll just put that in there. And I'll put some of this down here to join with that yellow running down. And I get this great little rooster that's just, you know, it works. And here's what I was not trying not to do this morning, is put ink everywhere. So that gives you a little idea. I'm going to let that dry over there, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. But now I'm going to switch pieces of paper and show you the difference in the drawing paper. So this is the drawing paper that's only 80 pound, and it's made by Strathmore. I carried this for a long time, did a lot of bees on this. I do this in restaurants. Let me show you what I mean by doing this in restaurants. Take a look. This is a Deuce mixture, but let me show you something here. I'm just going to go plus on this. There's my face. Hey, hey, hey. And I'm going to drop this video in right here. Boom. Take a look at this video. Okay? And you're going like, where is he? At a bar? Yes, I am. When I go into my favorite Chinese restaurant in the area, for over the last year and a half or so, I go in and I paint them. You see the third beer in, third beer's in there. Both of those are painted on this paper that I'm holding up right here. Okay, down here in the bottom. This is the 80-pound drawing paper. The other 3 pieces are just a little cuts off of my cold press. So you go, well, they can't literally make an art gallery of my stuff, but sometimes when they remove the beer to show it to a person or let them see it, this is their display. Or from the angles, you can see different things. These are, I think there are a dozen paintings up there. So when I go in and I do a call-in order, I stand at the bar and wait on the call-in order. And then I'll paint them something, and they put it up in the restaurant. And it's hilarious. And you go like, you're giving them a painting. I'm saying, yeah, but they're using it. I didn't ask them to use it for marketing. They just use it. So they're there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There you go right there. So there's a lobster and a fishing fly. So this is a little, you know, it's not a very, looks like Price is Right is on, and I'm standing at the bar, and there's what it looks like. So I did that to show you that you give people your art, and they'll help you do something with it. See, there's a fishing fly, there's a bee, there's a penguin, there's a shrimp holding a cup of tea. There's a crab behind that bottle there. There's a little rooster there. There's another bee. There's a lobster. I can't see what that one is right there, but who knows? You know, so my point is this. You have this opportunity to give some of your work away. And if you're an artist who wants to start selling their cards, or Chris, these beautiful tinies that you do, or give them away. But other people want to know about your work. The better you get, the more you create interest, and people say, "Ooh, why are you doing that? Is it because you want to be a millionaire as an artist?" I don't think so. But it's because you want to connect with more people. I'm going to tell you, the world's a lonely place when you don't connect with people. So when you're out and about, you sketch and people are interested. What are you doing? You go, "I'm trying to learn how to sketch." You know, it's a whole lot more fun to say you're writing a book than say you've written a book. Listen to this comment very clearly if you can. It's a whole lot more fun to say, "I'm writing a book," than "I've written a book." Here's why. If you're writing a book, people go, "Oh, tell me about it. Is it, wow, oh my goodness, that's interesting. Does it come to you? Do you do outlines? What do you do?" If you tell them that you wrote a book, they'll go, "What's it called?" And you say, "It's called How the Dogs Ate My Chickens." And you go like, "Oh, I don't think I'd like that." And you go like, "Well, wait, you can't judge a book by its title or its cover or even the guy who's writing it. So why do I say think like an artist? Because if I tell people I'm an artist, they say, "Where can we see your work?" And I go, well, you'd have to come late at night on Tuesdays because I'm moving it all for off the kitchen table so we can have dinner." And or I'd have to do this, or no, you say, "I think like an artist." They go, "Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more." And then you say, I'm actually always learning. I'm a student always of the art skill." So you see where that's going? All right, I want you to understand that as we get ready to do this. I'm going to pick up my Flair pen again. Now you saw the one I did on this paper, and watch what's happening. It's changing even, it's changing even as we talk. Here it is right here. Boom, there it is. This was the yellow drop that I put in. It mixed with the blue, turned a little green. There's the red dripping down. There's the yellow. Look at that little rundown just by the paper bowing up a little bit. These are colors that you never get when you brush. These are colors that my brush didn't really do anything but act as a mop to carry water over. And now I still have some wet ink on there. Look at that. I can drag this over here. Look at this. I can push this back up if I want some more red back up here. I could also lay this down a little flatter and put something on it to keep it flat, like a tiny little anvil that I keep here on my desk. But I think I like it just rolling into itself and letting the dark part come to the center. It'll pull the eye into there. Okay, so here we go. Another little rooster, and I'm going to do this one the other way. Here's the beak coming in this way. There's the wattle. He's got more of a crown look like this. Look at that, okay? And then he's also got a curved eyebrow, which is like, whoa, is that a dog over there? If it is, I don't need any part of him. And so I'm going to come in here like this. And so now we're talking about this color paper versus this color paper. I just want you to see what the ink looks like on that, and we'll let it roll one more time. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to come in and I'm going to just put the water in like so. Clean water going in. You probably can't see it. You might see a little bit of a glare, but look, it's beginning to hit the points. Now what's happening is not so much Payne's gray, but even instantly I begin to see more purple on this color paper. So this is why I play, this is why I test it, and I'll make a note. And I have over the years, I used to write this stuff down. I'm encouraging friends who start to literally start a baseline, not do the whole color wheel. You don't have to, because every pen you pick up is going to change. And watch, I'm going to show you. I'm going to pick up this pen that I told you that Flair changed again, and I'm going to go with a whole nother color up here on this one. And I'm going to go right in here, and I'm just going to make some marks with this. This is a Flair. It was called the Ultra Fine Flair. There it is right there. Not made anymore. Well, that's not true. They still call this the Fine Flair, or now it's Flair UF, Ultra Fine. But it's a different color than this one. And they said it was the same pen. And so, you know, I argued with them for about 10 minutes on the phone, and I went, well, I just wasted 10 minutes of my life that I can't get back. So I want to show you what happens with this color versus this color. So that's why I put it in there. Watch closely. All right, here we go. A little water. You saw this one happening here, right? See this? Look at this. Very much Payne's gray, very much a great little color. Look at this right here. Watch what color it does. Whoa. Flare and a flare, and look, you can see it immediately. And so this is more of my phthalo light blue that I just used coming out of this little pen. And now let's change colors to one more pen. I'm going to show you. This is the Papermate. This was designed in 2008. This is the Papermate with, and I haven't done this in a while for you guys, so I've been having fun with Flair this week. So look, I'm just cross-hatching some of this in here, just like this. I'm not going to let it set too long. I'm going to, while it's still active, liquid on the paper, I'm going to come in and just throw a little paint on it. Clean brush again. No tricks up the sleeve here. Now just water. Come in and look at this one. More purple than the actual first Flair. Look. And so I said, folks, you've changed the color on me. Take a look. Now I have 3 different colors from 3 different pens, and there's one more pen that I want to interject, and it's the Pilot, and it's made by Pentel. I think this is, no, it's made by Pilot, and this is the Eraser Point. Architects, a lot of times they'll use these, and I'm going to put this one here on the beak, just like this. And then I'm going to actually throw some feathers back here on the back side of his neck, like this, and I'm going to bring some of this in. And you're going to see which one is going to match, okay? That'll be fun. Clean brush again, da-da-da-da, damp, and then pick this one up and look. It's going to match the Flair better than any of the other pens that were made by Flair, except for the first one. So it matches the first Flair really well. So I want you to see that. It's really crazy. So if you're looking for something that'll give you this look, it's probably this pen. Watch, I'm going to do it one more time for you. Look at this. Okay, it's a little thinner because they call the Razor Point. So you're going to have to use a little more of it. But there it is right there. Watch and see if you don't think these are just about the same color as they come out. See that purple blue? Look at that. A little more blue in this one. But you're going to see this one's a thinner ink. So if I came in as heavy, I'd probably get a little more of that blue in there. Now this one I have to dry. But it gives you, it's pretty close to the same thing. So a Razor Point and a Flair. And so you go, okay, I don't need both of these. I'll just carry one. Am I more detail or am I a water brush stroke person? That's the original Flair. So that's kind of why I do stuff like that, just to give you guys an idea of what might happen. Now, what would I do if I put some color into this one? I'll just show you. Let's just add a little red in this black right there. Let's add a little red right here too over top of this one. And let's add a little bit of yellow ink on top of that. There it is right there. And boy, these lids are, I'm not a fan of Liquitex ink, to tell you the truth. Like I said, I just bought it for a project. And then let's just add a little bit of more water right here. Get it coming down just a little bit like this. Just let it run down. The paper is tending to bow up because this is what happens when you get ink in it. And then I'm going to drop a little, 1 dropper full of black ink right there and just let it go. Tip the paper up just a little bit, let it run down. Pull this back in right here, just pick up a little bit. Clean out my brush, grab a little bit of this yellow right here, and then let that yellow run into the black and watch what happens. And a little bit coming down into the wattle. Pick this up like this. And so I've worked backwards to make this rooster sort of work. Isn't that crazy? Now I'm going to do something else. I'm just going to grab a paper towel here and just make it into a tight little ball. And we'll go right in here in the neck, and I'm just going to push it down and pull some of that out. Too much ink. There we go. Throw that in the trash. Boom. Not until it had a chance to hit the wall. And shucks. Okay, let me see if there's let me see if there's any questions. Boom, boom, boom. I put it in the wrong place again. I'm learning how to do this online thing. Is that amazing? All right. No, all right. Let's see. Alice Durham, Piker. Let's see. Let me go down. Denise, morning all. Let me pull in. Technology. Okay. I don't know. Bunny Trail, Misfit Art, Alabama. Soho Craft, 65 pounds. Started playing around with it. 65 pounds. Yeah, that'll make a big difference, Jason. Go for this 135, and I think you're going to love it. I got a pad of Soho paper, and I really like it. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. Oh, great. Okay, love it. I love that. My husband broke his hip. Oh, so sorry, June. Okay. Man, this is why you have a community here. Think of each other. Send notes. Pray for one another. Do you ever use watercolor crayons? Mary Quayle asked the questions. Mary, I have some, and I've used watercolor pencils more than crayons sometimes. But if I'm working on something that's huge and I want a big watercolor looking splash, then sometimes I will. I've done this twice, and I even thought about. I have three big. I have my three favorite colors in watercolor crayons, and they're about this big. They're about 3 or 4 inches long, and they're literally the size of my little finger. They're pretty big crayons. My thought was to use them on the big lobster that I'm going to paint this spring. I'm going to do that live because I want it to have the watercolor look. And so it is to brush on, and this is on canvas. And so I think what I can do is I can scrub that into canvas on water, and it's going to give me a lot of the watercolor look that I want for my big lobster. So yes, I have used them some. They're not something that I use all the time because as big as they are, unless I'm on a big canvas, there's not a whole lot of detail. So watercolor pencils for me work better. Like if I have a little watercolor pencil somewhere and I'm working on a fishing fly, and I've got a little fishing fly going on here that's looking like this, and it's got the hairs coming out. I think you can see what I'm scribbling here real fast, and I'm working with this flare pen. I come around with the hook. And then if I want a tail on this, I can pull some watercolor pencil right in there like that. And then I might put some watercolor in this, or let me show you another way I can do that. Watch this very quickly. I'll do a feather like this. Trying to stay out of that water, but it looks like I'm going to hit it anyway. And then I'll go in here with a little watercolor between, just like this. And then when I touch that with a small watercolor brush, and liven it up, you'll see it start to come to life a little bit. And then also here, look at this. Let me show you a different trick here. See this? I swept that watercolor in. I'm going to sweep another one right in here like this. Watch this one go up. See those two right there? Now watch this. If I come in here and just put a little water on top of this watercolor brush and let it soften up, then I can come back in with my fountain pen or my flare pen, and I can put some pieces in here that look like feathers. Fountain pen works much, much better, if you'll get the idea when I put this one down. Look. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what you can do with that if you want to get creative with watercolor pencils. I think they're a whole lot more fun to work with. And I don't want to sound, look, I throw away a lot of paper a day on things that I'm just practicing with, just like this. This is getting ready to go out to the boneyard right now, but you get an idea of where that starts to go, and then how I build up by just using things that other people might go, oh, I wish I had a brush for that, or I wish I had this for that, and I wish I had $1 million. That's that sort of stuff. So just kind of have fun with it as it goes, and I think you're going to get some fun out of that. All right, so now I'm going to do this whole little rooster thing on a piece of watercolor paper, and here it is right here. This is Kilimanjaro. 140 pound, bright white, and I'm going to do the same thing on it that I've been doing with the flare pen. I want you to see the flare pen on it. It's just, where else do you get to demonstrate this stuff? I don't have to create something for you. I just need to create and push you to create. That's my goal, is to connect with you folks. So there it is right there. I love this paper. It's got a Kilimanjaro watermark right there. Can you see that? I don't think so. How can I make you see that? Let's see. Let's see if we can scribble over this somehow so you can see it. Maybe a little flare pen might work. Let's see if that works. I don't know. I'm just trying this as I go here. Now let me take a paper towel. I think I would have some right, and wipe that off. No. Okay, that fell. All right, here we go. All right, so here's a flare pen again. And even everyone in the sunny green fields of Ireland. Hey, Ruth, glad to have you on the show. And Jason says, throwing down ink is a great way to keep things loose. Absolutely. You will not control ink. Once it hits a splash of water, it takes off, and it does the wildest things. So you're going to love that. I painted a mechanic picture while I waited for him to finish yesterday. Denise Albright, I love that. That's fantastic. And Ruth, I'm glad you're on the show from the green fields of Ireland. And I told Carol yesterday I got to go to Ireland and I've got to paint in Ireland. It was pouring rain here yesterday morning, and she said, "Come on, sunshine." And I said, to be a McKibben, I'm not sure the Scottish Irish blood in you is as thick as you think it is. Because she goes, "I just need the sunshine," and so, but it was. I've got to come there and paint someday before Jesus takes me home. Love to do that. Head to Ireland late April. Whoa, man. JJ Des says, okay. Any more ruse in store for that chain chicken restaurant? No, not right now. I did 2 projects for them last year, and they came out of the chute thinking they were going to go real strong. I don't know if they've recopied some. They had the rights to do it in 4 different restaurants. What I sold them at that point in time, working in a licensing agreement like that was kind of fun. And it wasn't a ton of money, but it was great. And just doing it and thinking of what I had to come up with and how I had to make it work. And by the way, if you're ever going to buy scissors to cut watercolor paper, don't just use a paper cutter. These are on my desk this morning. These are creative, worthless things that come with a roll of tomato twine, and you never want some. Denise says, "What watercolor pencils would you recommend?" Wow, that's a great question. I have always been a fan, and so I'm not going to go to. There's Derwent. There's I love Prismacolor. I just really do. I like them. There's some inexpensive ones out there. There's all kinds. There's, you name them. Crayola makes some. But I like, and not just because Prismacolor are more expensive, I've just always liked the pigment in their markers. And so I would lean in that direction because as I open the boxes up and look at them, I just like the brightness of their colors, and that fits my styles. So Denise, that's the best thing I can tell you. It's not, Yasutoma, by the way, makes a round tube, and they sent me one for a demonstration, and I got to tell you, I loved it. I may still have one of them here. I gave one of those tubes away to 2 little children that I really wanted to inspire to start doing watercolor, and we felt like they were just they needed pencils to start with and not paints. And so I told them how that they could use their watercolors. And I don't know if you do this or not, but I'll show you here on one more piece of paper. Everybody feels like you have to use them like colored pencils, and you don't. You don't have to do the whole area in. So what I do sometimes is I do this 2 different ways, just on, and this is just my style, but you should develop your own style. But here's the thing that you can do. One is we're just going to create this this little area here. Let's see how we can do this. Here, let's do it with this. Let me do it with a pen that doesn't bleed as well. What if I just had this little balloon here? Okay, I've got this little balloon here. And I got this little balloon here. And they're not very good ones, but it was a bad birthday, and this one's going down. Okay. And so if I wanted these balloons to work, everybody wants to think crayon when they're doing this. And by the way, this is a Kimberly. So it's made by Generals, and I don't know how it got in my studio. Probably doing some work with children. I think it's probably a big box store watercolor pencil. It's called Straw. And so here's what I would do. I would just put a little bit in here like this. There. And then I would go to grab my brush, and then I'd start dropping water on that and bringing that balloon to life. And I'm going to go heavy over here with the water, and then I'm going to clean out my brush. No paint in it, and I'm just going to finish the rest of my balloon by pushing that around just like that. And that's how I would do that little watercolor balloon. And I'd let the heavier, darker stuff be down here at the bottom. The sun's coming in that way. Now watch the other side. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take, in fact, I'm going to do one more for you. If you haven't done this, watch this. This will be a fun way to learn. Here's how I learned watercolor. I'm still learning. All right, so I'm put the top on this flare. I hope this is helpful to some of you. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my same little brush, clean, wet it, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to pile in some water, just like this. Now, I'm going to take my watercolor brush or my watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to start popping it right in on top of the water, just like that. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing. Clean brush, and just start pulling this over a little bit, just like this. Okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to stick it into my water for a second. My clean mason jar here. There it is right there. I'm just soaking the crayon a little bit. You know how I spray my paints before I start? Now look, I'm just going to put it down here, and oh my gosh, look what happens. Now I'm painting watercolor with a watercolor brush that's just shaped like a pencil. Are you kidding me? Whoever thunk of doing that? And you're going to think that that might be the way that I need to do it. And now I'm going to take my brush and come in here and kind of dry brush actually, and hitting it on paper towel up here like this. And then I'm just going to start pulling this over here to match up, and I'm going to leave a little holiday in there. And so which one's the best? By gosh, the one that has the most color is that one right there. So with one straw watercolor pencil, a little more ink here. You see I did that on purpose. I actually just put a little extra ink in there to give this one just a little bit more shadow. But watch, we'll go back and do something else. Look at this. I'm going to wet this brush again. Or excuse me, wet the watercolor pencil. I'm holding it in the water. Soften it up, bring it in, and watch me pile some more pigment right in there, just like this. And bring this one to life just a little more. And same with this one now that it's still wet. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so that gives you a little idea of if I were working in storybooks and illustration, I don't want all my balloons to look alike. I don't want them to look like they were rubber stamped. I want them to all look like the light's hitting them differently. And how does that happen? So if I had some greens, maybe they're flying through a tree, and I've got leaves in here, and I've got the background of some leaves, and this balloon's caught up in the tree, or and then maybe there's blue sky. So you see where I'm going with this? I can come in now and I can drop all these little colors in and around it, and I can create this little whimsical storyline of just how this works. And I think sometimes we spend too much time worrying about all the sketching and everything that we're doing, and not just having fun with art and letting it surprise you. Remember how I said I was going to open up the show today by just letting art surprise you? And that's what happens sometimes. So there's this little painting that just goes, wait a minute, that just happened. You know, if I had my watercolor pencils out here, which I don't, but I actually looked over and saw something laying on the desk over there. So this is a Kimberly, this is a Prismacolor. This is a Prismacolor. I like the Prismacolor a lot. This is a Sanford. So who knows where I got these things, I mean, it doesn't, and here's the thing, it doesn't really matter, because they're all tending to do the same thing. Let me throw a little orange on this, and I'm just going to do this one more time. That's a great question, by the way. Thank you. I'm just going to wet this, and then I'll just put it right in here and just let one of these be a little orange balloon that comes in just like that. Look at that. And I'm using this watercolor pencil as a brush. And by the way, I'm doing this on drawing paper, if you hadn't recognized. And it's 80-pound stuff. And in a minute, it's probably going to go through. Yeah, it's already heading there now, so I can see it going through. So I'll put a little red in this one, and then grab my brush again and just loosen that up. See, if I do too much scratchy, you see, it looks like I did it with a pencil. And so there is a, you know what I'm going to say? There's an art to working with watercolor pencils. So that gives you an idea. Look how bright that is, though. Whoa, that's cool. All right, bunny trail. Let it go. All right. Any more questions here? We got about 10 minutes to go. Thank you, Michael. Do the different color ink spread on the paper differently, even though they're the same make and medium? P.H. Martin, or is it due to the paper? Chip Fur. Everything's always different, my dear friend. Different inks spread differently. Why? Because their viscosity is different. The amount of water you put on is different, but really it's also the substrate. And that's why I was going to do this on this pen. You saw what happens when I drop a drop of water on, let's see if we can do this here real fast. Here we go. Yes. Great question. Everything is different. There's no set things. Here we go. And even a piece of hot press paper. Do I have a piece of hot press paper? I'm looking. Just hold on. This is cold press as well, but it's a different. Okay, but it's not cotton. All right, so here, this will be a good try right here. Okay, this is a Kilimanjaro, a Niji paper, which is from Yasutoma, watercolor block. It's it says it's cotton, but let's just see if there's a difference anyway. Okay, this is Kilimanjaro. This is Soho sketching paper, and this is Niji, N-I-J-I. So let's do this. Let's take a bamboo brush here, and let's do 1 drop of water on each page. And I'm just going to do it, and then we'll drop the ink. So here we go. Can you see all those? Nope. Let's open it up just a little bit. Let's come out. There we go. And then let me get focused on this brush. Here we go. Let me get focused right there. That's probably clean enough on the focus. Yeah, that'll probably work. Okay, so here's my pieces. All right. Niji, Soho, Kilimanjaro. Okay? All right, so there we go. 135 pound drawing paper, watercolor paper, 140 pound, 140 pound. Both of these are cotton, but just 2 different companies. One's a bright white. It's a little brighter than this one, just a little bit, if you can see it. And then, so here's what happens when I do this. I'm just going to drop in a drop of water, and I'll waste the paper for you because that's my job. Here we go. I'm just going to pile a little water right here, just like this. I'm going to start in a circle, and then I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, out. Okay? So it's a little circle of water right there, and 1, 2, 3, out. I'm going to take some Bombay ink, and I'm just going to touch the dropper right here like this. Touch. Okay? I'm going to pick it up and just see where it goes. Boom. Look, it stopped at the end of my water flow. Okay? All right, let's do that again. All right, let's do it on this paper. Little circle, there it is. Little circle, and then 1, 2, 3, okay? And then let's go with the same ink. All right, here we go again. Watch this. 1 drop, boop. All right, pick it up. Watch what happens. All right. Which one? We're watching how they soak also. All right, let's do it one more time. You won't see the difference yet, but you might when I start to move it a little bit. All right, so here we go. Kilimanjaro paper, drop of water, 1, 2, 3. Bigger drop on the front end of that one. Okay, and then 1 drop of ink. All right. Pick it up like this and just let it roll down. Okay, so interesting what's happening here is that now I'm just going to take a damp but dry bamboo brush, and I'm going to turn these into all into roosters. So here we go. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to let this beak be up here like this, and I'm just dipping it in this, and I'm going to bring this back into a rooster just like this. Okay, so you see how that Payne's Gray has taken a sweep already. Now I'm going to take the Soho one, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to do the same with beak, and then paint his wattle here. Come down like this. Okay, this one is soaking it up really fast, but this one is like soaking it up like a sponge because it's 140 pound. The cotton in it is running like crazy. All right, so here we go. Damper brush, come in, pick up some ink on it, do my beak right here like this. And, okay. And then come in here, come in with the wattle, and then come in with the back of the chicken like this. So you're not going to see a whole lot of difference between the 2 cottons. It'd been fun to do this with a hot press. I just couldn't find one for this demo in my drawer this morning over there. And I have some. I don't use it a lot, but some of those of you who do. But watch what happens as it begins to dry and fade out. I'm going to drop a little more in here. I'll put a little more up here. and then let's just let those dry for a couple minutes and see if there's any other questions. Okay, so there you go. So the same thing. I know, Chip, you're doing some landscape trees, and if you drew that tree in very lightly and started with a piece of by the way, this has a different. The word is sizing, not cut in shape or size, but the word is sizing. There's probably in this 100% cotton, there's probably more bleach in this one that is holding this ink up on the surface. This one has more cotton in it. It's rag cotton also, which affects it differently, and it's soaking in. And so it depends on how you want your art to look later. But for me, these are the perfect Payne's grays. These are what makes feathers differently. This is going to just come into, this is where Soho paper or drawing paper will tend to get more striated or more hard lines. You'll see more hard lines in this and this, and I didn't do any difference in any of this. And you'll see that this one's probably going to go the dullest when it's all said and done. Okay? All right. I like your art in the back of the Chicken Whisperer magazine. Thank you. I haven't heard from them in a while. I've been painting for them for several years, and they're changing ownership right now. Prismacolors are good. I love that. Jason says he likes to dip his watercolor pencils in the water first and sketch. Yes, I'm thinking of using them to accent the paint once dry. I think that's a great idea, Denise. Keep the ends sharp and just kind of come in there, but also I think you'll appreciate using them like that. Ink inspiring show today. It makes me want to buy domain names. It doesn't move as much on the Soho paper. It's wonderful in the Kilimanjaro. Yeah, I think there's a difference here because this paper is a drawing paper, sketching paper, and this one is like a ski slope. It's got all these undulations, and the ink gets hidden in there and stays in for a little while. And this one is going to lay on the surface a little longer because it doesn't have as much cotton in it. And so you just have to decide what you want your style to look like and how it's going to dry. And I'm going to show you these others that are dry this morning. Here's the first one that I did with the blue ink and the green ink. And take a look. I just left it over there. And so is it too much? See, it takes less ink, less paint than you ever thought. And so these are just demo throwaways here this morning. But look at this one on this paper. You see how it's got the mushroom lines? Some artists really love this. In flowers, this is fabulous, by the way. If you were going to paint some flowers and you wanted that broken line to come in there, this is fabulous. This part I'm looking at right here, there are artists who work lots of times to try and get that to feel and look that way. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll actually just come in and I'll lay a little more just yellow, bright yellow ink right in on top of this and just let it dry there so it'll give me one of those stain rings, as I call them, or mushroom rings, or fumata. Okay, I think is the French word for it. And you know, what does an East Tennessee boy know about French? Nothing except French fries, okay? And they're called pommes frites over there. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how that dries. Take a look here and you can see the same thing. Now, what I do love to do sometimes is come back in with my normal watercolor paints, and these have not been wet this morning, so my pans are fairly dry, but just come in and throw a little bit of color in on top of that, and it gives me a great shadowing look behind it. I can do the same thing with this red coming down and create more of this wattle in the colors that I normally use. A red wattle, because that's the way roosters look. They've got a red wattle, but I've got this great shadow line behind it, so it gives me this great looking aged painting. A little purple down here would just be perfect. And also, how could I do one of these without a little bit of Terry Tardy turquoise? And that's going to fly in right here. And so I suddenly have this little rooster that needs some yellow. Yes, he does. He needs a little bit of yellow right here on the beak just to highlight that darkness. Painting over that color, and who would have thunk it? Okay, but you can try all this stuff and put a little bit there. And so that gives you an idea of, wait a minute, he started with black ink and then I didn't sketch. Remember, I didn't sketch. I just dropped this and then I used my brush as my sketching pencil to create what I wanted to do out of these layers. And so that's sometimes how you can do that, just by demonstrating. I just want you to be playful and be surprised by your art. Sometimes thinking like an artist doesn't mean that you have this perfect plan. You just start making the marks. And some of you sit down and you go, oh, wait, I'm going to have to trace that line to make sure it's straight. Who knows it's not straight but you? No one. No one would know that I didn't plan to make this rooster this way, except you people who watched and said, wait, he just started with a dot of black ink. And then where did it go? And so my whole push today, as I sat down this morning, was I wrote on this thing right here, surprise them, the Blue Roo. It surprised me this week. One, it surprised me that I found these paints, and the reason I can't get them open is because they've been over there for about 3 years behind this bookshelf. And so I tried to get them open. I got the blue one open. I'm just going to use it. It was raining, and so I popped it open, and it took off. And I painted 2 roosters that way. Sold them yesterday just because I thought there's a story there. Later in the day, the blue came to mean more than not my style or not how I was feeling, but the skies here in Carolina. And so I do like this feel. I wish I had more time, and I'll probably play around with this one here in just a minute. But look at how this ink is laying on this, and it's going to stay darker here. And here, this will eventually dry, a little shadowed in. So that gives you just an idea of what you can do if you just play from watercolor pencils to flare pens, where all this started. But I didn't even do these in flares. I like painting over it gives depth to the color a little bit also, so I like it. All right, there you go. Let's see if there's any last questions, and I'm out of here. I like the bloom lines. Chris, you do like the bloom lines, and that makes perfect sense. Here's why: because you are a hot press paper person. My daughter does too, and she uses Fabriano Studio Hot Press. It's her favorite paper. If you haven't tried it, I recommend it. You can get it at Cheap Joe's. Sure, I haven't talked about them much today, but they do carry it, and it's Fabriano Studio Hot Press, and I think you can actually get it 11 by 14 or 9 by 12 for sure. You can get a big pad of 11 by 14, and she paints all her flowers on that, and it really leaves these what I call stain lines, or these beautiful the lines that you're seeing here. You call them bloom lines. I think that's a great name for them. Okay, all right. Skeeter Powell says, hello, I'm late. I'm real late. You are, Skeeter, but it's good to see you, my friend, and glad you're on the show. Thank you all for being a part of Roo Doodles Live. I'll always post something. I don't know what. I'll post something later today. Off to the theater today to see a movie, one of the chosen movies that's been released in the theaters, and we support them in the theater, so I'm going to go see that today and be a part of that with some friends. And I love being a part of your world via this reach out. It's all about people. So right now, I'm going to pour myself another cup of tea. But I'm going to take this last sip, and I'm going to think of someone before I leave this chair right here in the studio that I can just send out a note to today for encouragement. I saw a couple comments here today of someone, June Jones' husband. Think of him, pray for him, send him a note. And you guys connect with each other. You already do. It's so fun to read through Roo's Crew sometimes, and see how you guys connect. Blessings to you all. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. I like this color. It's jumping at me. I might do a painting like that today to put on my auction site.